The tiny European nation of Luxembourg is famous for its castles, and the gorgeous Romanesque Winden Castle is the fairest of them all. It was built between the 11th and 14th centuries on the site of an ancient Roman fortress overlooking the beautiful Aar River. It was one of the grandest feudal residences in Europe and was at the peak of its powers in the 13th century under Henry I of Winden, known as Luxembourg's Sun Count, thanks to his luxurious lifestyle. The castle was restored to its original glory after transferring to state ownership in 1977. Prince Bořivoj of the Přemyslid dynasty, probably, started building Prague Castle in AD 880, and over the centuries various rulers from various dynasties have expanded it. According to Guinness World Records, the UNESCO-listed building is the largest coherent castle complex in the world, covering a staggering 753,000 square feet. But it is beautiful too, a beguiling mix of Romanesque and Gothic rising majestically above the Vltava River. It remains one of Czechia's most important cultural institutions and the home of the Czech president. Chapultepec Castle sits on the western edge of Mexico City atop a 200-foot-high, 60 rocky hill whose name means Hill of the Grasshopper in the Nahuatl language. The Aztecs once had a fort here, while the Spanish built a chapel here in 1554 before converting it into a stately home in the 1780s. It briefly housed the Emperor of Mexico in the 1860s, the only building on the North American continent to be a royal residence, and was then home to Mexico's presidents until 1940. Today the castle contains Mexico's National Museum of History, and its terraces offer excellent views out over the city. There's a certain bleak beauty to this folly in outback Australia. It was built by hand by Vittorio Stefanato, an Italian immigrant who had come to the opal mining town of Lightning Ridge in 1973. Locals christened him Amigo, and he immediately set about building his dream home, stone by stone. You'll find him in his castle to this day, where he will happily show you around and spin you a yarn or two about its history. He may even let you see his dragon, the bones of a dinosaur, probably a plesiosaur, he found during construction. This stunning Rajput jewel crowns a rocky hilltop near the fabled pink city of Jaipur. Made from red sandstone and white marble, it is the second most visited site in India after the Taj Mahal and was built in 1592 to serve as a palace and military fort for Raja Man Singh. But with its lavish interiors and cool courtyards, this royal refuge soon became a place of music, art, and scholarly learning, with a courtly culture as sophisticated as its shimmering mirror halls. New Zealand's most famous castle, albeit arguably its only one, Larnac Castle sits on a ridge overlooking the South Island city of Dunedin. Built in 1871 by notorious entrepreneur and politician William Larnac, it immediately got tongues wagging with its over-the-top opulence, hitherto unseen in Victorian New Zealand. In 1898, Larnac's Midas touch deserted him, and his financial difficulties led him to take his own life in New Zealand's Parliament House. Today, the castle has been lovingly restored, and its magnificent gardens are particularly noteworthy. Bodiam Castle in East Sussex is a classic medieval castle, with thick, crenellated walls supported by 9 stubby towers, all surrounded by a moat. It was built in 1385 by Sir Edward Dallingrig, previously one of Edward III's knights, in the face of a possible invasion by the French during the 100 Years' War. Its design is unusual in that it was built as much for comfort as protection, with multiple inner courts providing ample space for those living and working inside the castle. Today it is one of the National Trust's most beloved properties. Stunning Topkapi Palace was initially built by Ottoman Sultan Mehmed II after he conquered Constantinople, Istanbul, in 1453. Many of his successor sultans added their own flourishes, resulting in a medley of Islamic, Ottoman, and European styles. The sprawling palace enjoys commanding views across the Bosphorus and used to house up to 4,000 inhabitants, with up to 300 in the harem alone. Today it houses a vast museum that exhibits important artifacts from the Ottoman Empire, including an extensive collection of books and manuscripts. The Palace of the Grand Master of the Knights of Rhodes, or Castello to the locals, exudes an air of stately permanence and is one of the few Gothic buildings in Greece. It was built in the 14th century by the Knights of the Order of St. John of Jerusalem, a Catholic military order also known as the Hospitallers who used the island of Rhodes as a base for crusades into the Holy Land. The castle's thick sandstone walls and crenellated towers were considered impenetrable and withstood numerous sieges until Ottoman Sultan Suleiman II turned up with 100,000 men in 1522. Castello di Amorosa sits surrounded by braided vineyards in California's Napa Valley and was only finished in 2007. It's the youngest castle on our list but is no less beautiful for it. Indeed, it's a mirror image of the castles of 14th century Tuscany, right down to its antique decorations and mock medieval torture chamber. In my mind, everything had to be authentic or it wouldn't be worth the effort, says Dario Sutui, renowned winemaker and owner of the castle.